Alright, in this video we're going to be covering King's crouch dash mix-ups. We're going to group this by a few different categories. We have 4 categories that we have selected. And so without further ado, let's jump in. Each of these categories is going to be from lowest frames to highest frames. And we're going to talk a little bit about kind of positive or negative on blocks and hits. So the first mix-up that we have to cover is once we start doing the crouch dash, is we have either 1+4, which opens the arm breaker kind of string, and then we also have crouch dash 2+3, which is the shin breaker string. Both of these are extremely high damaging. One is 95, the other one is 110 for the max combos, and the good thing is each of those come out as a different break of either a 1 break or a 2 break. In which then like you can just have your opponents kind of second guessing exactly what's going on. For a normal hit, which comes out as mid as crouch dash 4, this comes at around 15 frames and it's -9 on block, and then obviously on hit it kind of crumbles them down. You can try to dash up, but a lot of times your opponent's going to do something to not cause this combo to actually go off, but you're going to be able to have a nice mid poke that you're going to be able to throw out there. Next, at 20 frames, so it's 5 frames slower, crouch dash 1+2, which is another mid. On block, you're actually at -10, so your opponent might be able to punish you, but a lot of times when we set the opponent to actually guard, it actually puts them in a crouch state. And a lot of characters only have an 11 frame punisher, so even if they get the full block, you'll be able to recover in time before they put any damage on you, unless they do kind of an instant cancel to be able to throw out a 10 frame kind of move. So it's just something to keep aware of with this. And obviously on hit, it just knocks them down. And on critical hit, it's going to pop up in the air for a launcher. So those are kind of our high mids, and our last crouch dash is down forward 1 or just crouch dash 1. Which is our low. This comes out as 30 frames. It's super far reaching, so even versus players that may not be fully seeing this coming, it is going to reach, and it is -9 on block, which means that it's perfectly safe to do. Just get ready to lose initiative and be ready to block. If this does connect, you're able to pull off a very big damaging combo. So we have some mid variations, we have throw variations, and we also have a low with the pure crouch dash. Next, after crouch dash, we can actually do forward, and we can start doing some of those moves. So the first one that I want to talk about is forward 1. And I usually do this approach when I'm very far away. Just to kind of close that distance. It is a little bit of a slow move coming out at 22 frames, but it's -5 on block. So if they block this, it's no problem, and then you kind of get in their face. Another thing you can do is instead of throwing out that long range mid, is you can actually do the instant shining wizard. You can do the instant shining wizard, and so after a crouch dash, especially if you've conditioned your opponent that you usually throw out a mid attack, they're probably just going to be holding back or sidestepping, but the instant shining wizard comes out so fast that you should be able to grab them at 12 frames. But other than just straight crouch dash forward moves to do, I do not recommend to do forward, is we can actually start doing forward neutral moves. And so just like that, we have crouch dash, and then we're just hitting forward once, and then we're hitting the 1+2 to get out that kind of mid-range poke. This comes out of about 15 frames, and it is even on block, so even if they fully block it, you can still have even initiative when you approach the jab game. On a normal hit, it'll just set them aside a little bit, won't really do any damage, but on a critical hit, you're at +23 frames on hit. A critical hit in which you're able to punish with either a back 3 or 1+2, 3 for kind of bigger damage. So this is a very safe kind of mid poke that you're going to be able to enter in your repertoire. And if your opponent's getting used to just blocking mids, blocking lows, you can also do forward 2, crouch dash forward 2, for that low variation. This comes at approximately 23 frames. It's minus 15 on block, and on critical hit, it will throw them up in the air. On hit, it looks like it's about +1, approximately. So even though you don't get a full big damaging combo of the single hit, you're going to be positive on frames to then enter kind of the jab game variations. We can start doing instant wall standing. So after we do kind of a forward crouch, we're just going to release to kind of do an instant wall standing move. The first one we're going to cover is a mid attack, which is wall standing 4. Comes at around 11 frames, and it's -6 on block and +5 on hit. So if this scores a hit, we're pretty good to start entering the jab game from a long range. And even after the hit, even just doing a back 1, if they try to throw out a jab, you're going to score a critical hit for big damage, and back 1 is also on safe. So it's very common on hit, you just throw out that back 1. If they block it, you're still safe. If not, you can probably score a critical hit if they pushed a button. Next, we have instant wall standing 2. This is our kind of our mid variation. This does have some tracking, so that's why we look at it. Just doing the single punch, we're going to be at -9 on block, and if it hits 1, if it hits, we're +1 on block. If we do the 2-2 variation, it's a natural hit combo, but on block, I think it's at -14 or so, so your opponent will be able to punish it. That's why, like, this is just to kind of close the gap and score a little hit to start kind of doing your mix-up game of what to do in the crouch dash mix-up. The last instant wall standing we can do is wall standing 1+2. This comes out at 18 frames, so it is very slow to do, and it's -10 on block, so your opponent will be able to get a jab kind of punish on you, which should do anywhere from 18 to upwards of 30 damage. I haven't figured out who does the most damage with their 10-frame punisher. But this is launchable, so if your opponent especially sees that you're doing a lot of low attacks, that they might start crouching, and this might be a good way to kind of sneak in this mid for launch for massive, massive damage. And our last kind of mix-up or variation that we can do is that after a crouch dash, we're just going to keep holding down to put us in the full crouch state, in which we're able to do down forward 2. This move comes out at 15 frames. It's -14 on block, so this is not a spammable move by any means, but you might be able to catch your opponent off guard for massive damage, kind of mixing in between that down forward 1 and those other kind of low pokes to put them in a state and just kind of crumple them. The other thing that you can do is wall fully crouch. If you do 1+2, you can do the ultimate tackle to kind of catch your opponent off guard to start doing any of those variations kind of moving forward. And a lot of time your opponent won't be looking forward to that, so you might be able to get very easy damage out of it. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. All these moves can be done after doing kind of that first crouch dash. And we looked at just doing pure crouch dash moves. We looked at crouch dash into forward neutrals, forwards, and then also just keeping wall fully crouched to kind of a mix-up game. And the whole thing with King is don't keep doing the same move over and over and with any character. But after this crouch variation, you should be doing a good mixture of different throws to try to maximize that damage. If they start breaking throws too often, then you can start throwing in lows, which incentivizes your opponent to start blocking low for you to actually start getting into kind of more mid-range attacks to start doing major damage. So with that, guys, we'll see you guys next time.